Now, have the British done their bit for refugees that have arrived in Europe, or is it better to help those stranded nearer Syria? The Conservative MP for South Cambridgeshire, Heidi, elected for the first time last year, has been taking a close interest in the refugee situation, and she's just spent the weekend on the Greek island of Lesbos with Save the Children, getting a close look at life in the camps there, particularly for the unaccompanied children.
Well, this is the first thing that struck me, actually, is just some of these boats from a distance look like they're in really good condition, but when you got up close and personal to them, you see they're full of holes, and I don't know whether you can see in there, but that's the most evocative thing I've seen so far. Just the discarded life jackets everywhere. There's a little kiddie shoe over there, and this is a boat that I can't even imagine how many people have crammed onto on a journey that would take anything from an hour to 10 hours to get across the waters. And here's the thing, the smugglers give you your boat, give somebody a brief 10-minute training, and then a refugee themselves then has to man this boat and bring it over here, and that I find staggering, that people are completely left to their own devices, in the dark often, have no idea where they're going, and just hoping to God they'll reach land at the other side. So this is Karatepe camp on Lesbos, which is where families come once they've been registered on arrival. Some people will be here literally just for a day, and then they're on boats to the next point of their journey in Athens. Lots of children running around. It's a tremendous facility, actually, and the loveliest part is that Save the Children managed to find a small space for children to play, toys, they can draw, they can paint. Some really beautiful paintings, actually, but some very, very sad ones as well. But that's part of the process here, to try and help the children come through the journey. But the great facilities, lots of IKEA huts, which are great, but we need to have them what they call winterised, so some of them don't have heating in them, and that, of course, is so important. Today's a lovely sunny day, but we had snow last week, so getting the right equipment, having the facilities here is absolutely important.
Well, Heidi Allen met the Immigration Minister, James Brokenshire, before she left for Greece, and we'll meet him again tomorrow. But he won't need to wait to hear her view, because she's written it up for The Sun, and she is here with me. Good evening to you.
Hello.
Look, you knew it was going to be bad before you went. Did anything surprise you?
I think the overall scale and the inability of the Greek authorities to deal with it. I didn't expect it to be a wonderful experience. I knew it would be very upsetting. But just the pressure, it seems to me, that's being placed on the Greek authorities to just deal with it. You know, every charity you can think of, Médecins Sans Frontières, everybody is there and everybody's trying so hard. But from a coordination point of view, it's just overwhelmed, and they just can't deal with it.
Who should take responsibility, particularly for the children, OK, in a Greek island, kids who don't belong to any European family?
I think it's, you know, what's become very clear to me is this is more than just a local problem, more than a European problem. For me, this is a global problem. And I think everybody that has had a role in trying to defeat Daesh, because that is where, you know, that's what's fueling a lot of these migrants moving across, has to play their part. For me, it's operational. The issues to solve the problem in Syria, etc., are huge and much more complex. Right here and now, and Lesbos and the Italian islands, this is about administration, this is about bodies on the ground. And I feel that every European country, America, should come together, contribute, and have some real organisation there, and they could really transform the situation.
Us as well.
Absolutely, yes. But we are doing that. And, you know, that's something I'm very proud of.
We're doing it, though. We're doing it to people out in nearer Syria, aren't we? That's our policy. Help people. We don't want to pull people to Europe.
Correct.
So we're not helping people in Europe. That is the British government approach.
Broadly speaking, and overall, I would agree with that. And when I saw the levels of people coming through, you know, we're talking some days 7,000 people per day arriving on these coasts. It's absolutely right that we try and keep people that are economic migrants a lot of the time staying in the countries that they come from. But once they arrive, then it becomes everybody's problem. So the government they did announce before we went that they are going to invest some money directly in these administrational processes that I'm talking about.
But we can't help all those children without bringing some of the children to the UK, presumably, because they can't live on a Greek island forever, can they? That's not going to happen. And there will be some who can't be sent back as economic migrants, and some of them are children. I mean, what sort of number do you think we should take? I think, is it 25,000 unaccompanied kids arrived last year?
That's the estimation, and even Save the Children, who've been championing this, by their own admission, they'd say it's kind of difficult to get a feel. Yeah. The real reason why it's hard to know how many there are is because of this administrational breakdown. you know, a lot of these children will have family members, even estranged family members, you know, distant cousins already in Europe. We need to go through the process to identify who they are, and then it's who's left behind. And in Italy, we have a much clearer picture of that because the processes there are more developed.
You're painting this as just an admin problem, but I'm just trying to get from you whether you think actually it's also about bringing
yes.
youngsters. And just what scale? 5,000 for the UK, 3,000 is a figure people have said.
I don't know if it's as clear-cut as that. You know, if it was me championing that meeting and bringing European leaders together, I think I'd want a grown-up conversation. Germany, for example, have opened their borders beyond all recognition, and probably some would say too far. Within the huge numbers that Germany have taken, by default there will be an awful lot of unaccompanied children that have come as part of that. I think it's a sensible conversation of leaders talking about human beings and saying, well, what can you manage, what can you take? But until we have done this work to understand the number of children that are there unaccompanied, because nobody should try and find a home for a child in a foreign country if there is the opportunity to find their family. So that process has to be gone through first.